Morning, everybody. All right. There's a lot. Let's just get in there. Let's go. We're going to start off with this article. I just thought it was so funny. Some souvenir chocolates was given to an 8-year-old girl back in 1935, and this was to celebrate the silver jubilee of the king at that time, which was King George V and Queen Mary. And her dad said, those might be worth something someday, so you may not want to eat them. And here we are, 80 some odd years later. She passed away at the age of 95 in November of last year, and her children found the box when they cleaned out her home. I gotta be honest, I wouldn't eat them at this point, but apparently now they are worth something, hundreds of pounds. That's pretty cool. Moving on. Next up, Sophie. She's still in Ethiopia, but I just wanted to let you guys know she did do the simulator and she landed her A350 simulation flight perfectly in London. Fabulous. Next up, on October 3rd, Edward, the Duke, went to a celebration reception in London for GB Snowport. Apparently, the snow sport athletes had a record-breaking season, and so they all got together. There were freestyle snowboard world champions were there. The Alpine World Cup star was there. And this was an opportunity for the chairman to introduce himself to the stakeholders and supporters. And, of course, Edward went around and congratulated everybody personally. I think that's lovely. Next up, on the 10th of October, the UK launched a ship dedicated to drones and underwater surveillance. Very interesting. It was formally dedicated on the Thames with the Duke of Edinburgh, and this was 11 months after the Ministry of Defense committed to invest in Proteus as the first ship in a multi-role ocean surveillance program. That's very interesting. Let's move on to Catherine and William. Now, they're pointing out in the paper that while Harry and Meghan are trying to make themselves a Hollywood power couple, the Prince and Princess of Wales hired the producer of BBC drama Call the Midwife as the director of their royal foundation. Her name is Dom Pippa Harris, and she will also be the director of the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund Trustee Company. Wow, fabulous. All right, next up, this is really sweet. So a pupil at a school, his name is Freddie Hadley, and he's at a school in the West Midlands. He sent a personal letter to William inviting him to the school, informing him about the Matrix project. And in this letter he sent, Freddie says there's a group of 11 to 14-year-old boys that meet every week to develop ideas and projects to shine a spotlight on male mental health. And he invited William to the school for the launch of their latest campaign. How sweet is that? Well, William and Catherine did not disappoint. They sent him out a shout out on social media, basically apologizing and saying they couldn't be with them, but how important it was that tackling mental health challenges and stigmas and keep up the good work. Way to go. I think that's so nice. All right, moving on. Now, while we're talking about Mental Health Week, you should know that the Royal Foundation, which is Catherine and William's charity, revealed that 39% of young people say that they do not feel they're managing their emotions well, and 95% said that their friends are having some sort of a mental health crisis. So there's fresh evidence of a mental health crisis in Britain. Now, 7 years ago, after William and Catherine launched the campaign, don't forget the Heads Together, a poll of 16 to 24-year-olds has found that people just don't feel in this day and age like they're handling things well. So now they're going to be going around for Mental Health Day, going to different places. One of the ones is going to be exploring our emotional world, which brings together people to discuss how to manage emotions. So to start with, Catherine and William went to Birmingham, and their first stop was at a place called Factory Works, where they were hosting a forum for young people. So it was actually a forum being run by young people. Now, while that was going on, William joined some young people in the custard factory. And they were doing an activity that looks at their well-being, how to get involved in social action, and well-being of young people. Very interesting. Now, this is interesting. So now, of course, we know how competitive these two are. You never put them up against each other. It is a disaster. So what happens? They did team building exercises with different teams. There was toilet paper. There was spaghetti pipe cleaners. There were cards. And at one point, William was joking around that Catherine's group was miles ahead and they needed to hurry up. You could see Catherine was getting all into it. I'm telling you, these two are so competitive, even for stuff like this. Very interesting. So there was a forum today, and the theme of the visit was exploring our emotional world. So they have 100 young delegates that were nominated to start a conversation about how they manage their emotions. Now, during this, Catherine was seen wearing these earrings. I don't know if you guys recognize that. And of course, we say a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce. But these earrings specifically that she's wearing, so these earrings were given to her by a mother who explained that her daughter had removed herself from this earth. The earrings were made by the teenager's cousin. I think it's just such a nice touch that she's wearing those today. Now, it's at this time that Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales, decided she was going to give her speech. There are about 100 young people there. The speech was all about building resilience and navigating the difficulties of life. Because she said, and I'm quoting, "It's more than just talking about it, but building positive solutions." Now, in this speech, which, by the way, got a huge round of applause afterwards, she mentioned the Heads Together that was launched in 2016. She talked about how positive mental health is shaped by the ability to understand and manage yourself as individuals. And now, of course, there is science and research that backs it all up and how important it all is. Yep. All right. When the speech was over, then it was time to move on. After that, William ended up on a panel, and then they concluded their visit. All in all, a great day. Okay. Then on Twitter, they put up this post that you're seeing, and that's when the Sugars decided to attack. Now, this young lady who claims to be a nurse says your sister-in-law had mental health issues, basically, and you didn't do, and you know the word. And this person wrote, you ignored Megan when she was pregnant. Now, this is where I get confused by these people. Megan didn't tell her doctors that she was suicidal. Megan didn't tell her mother, that was a therapist, that she was suicidal. But Megan did supposedly reach out to help. She reached out to her husband, Harry, the man she's supposed to be leaning on for help. And this is what Harry said to Oprah. Remember this?
Didn't know what to do.
I had no idea what to do. I wasn't prepared for that. I went to a very dark place as well, but I wanted to be there for her.
Did you tell other people in the family, I need to get help for her, we need help for her?
That's just not a conversation that would be had. I guess I was ashamed of admitting it to them.
Oh.
And I don't know whether they've had the same feelings or thoughts. I have no idea.
So he didn't tell anybody in his family by his own admission, and yet somehow the Sugars think that it was William's responsibility to take care of Megan, and somehow William and Catherine knew, even though Harry admits that he didn't tell anybody. And to top it all off, it was Megan who insulted Catherine by calling her baby brain right after she had her baby. What do you think that did to Catherine's mental health? So I agree with this Twitter user. Since Harry didn't tell anyone about her mental health struggles, I find it very interesting that the second he and William had a fight and Harry got his necklace broke, he picked up the phone and called his therapist. He said that himself in the spare. So how come he could get mental health on tap, but he couldn't do anything to help his wife? And why are the Sugars blaming William and Catherine for that? Yeah, all right, moving on. Now, we've all heard that Megan is in talks to launch her Hollywood career. I don't believe that for a second. She's putting out these articles and these puff pieces to make you guys think that, everybody wants her. She wants to be, with Julia Roberts. They want to be with Audible. It doesn't matter what Spotify said, but the articles are coming out that she is straining her marriage her marriage to Harry, but I got to be honest, I don't think she cares, as long as she gets what she wants, which is, the whole point of this. Okay, so here is the big PR push by WME. Here we go. Now, we thought that Invictus Games was trying to cut Meghan back just a little bit, and instead, there was a video done for Invictus, and she went to a home for military families called the Fisher House Foundation in Los Angeles. They provide homes for military families while, their family members in the hospital. She did that before she flew out to Dusseldorf. So there's a clip during an Invictus seminar, and there she is meeting and hugging veterans' families, and she narrates the clip. What does recovery mean to you? For some, it means reclaiming their narrative. She's using her buzzwords, narrative, revolutionizing your mindset. It's a change that's not only physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's social. And the Invictus Games show that the growth is more than what meets the eye. Okay, you guys, this is the big push for, WME. Look at me. Look how empathetic I am. Look how much, you know what I see from this? Invictus Games don't belong to Harry anymore. This is Meghan's baby. Meghan was out front. Meghan's fashion show. Meghan meeting these people. It takes a village. And one of the most essential parts of the process is having people around you who understand. She doesn't understand. She's not a veteran. I don't know what she's talking about. And of course, we found out about it from Scooby-Doo. Unbelievable. And I completely agree with Royal News Network here. The Invictus Games and the organizers are attached to it, and they're indulging her. I don't understand. They might as well just remove Harry and let her run it. Now, this on some level is where I think the press helps build this up, because according to the press, because she's wearing Princess Diana's Cartier watch and the same shirt she wore to day 12 of Wimbledon in 2018 when she went with Catherine, she's sending a message to Catherine. I don't think so. I don't think Catherine thinks of her at all. Now, I'm just pointing this out again. They're hitting back at the grifter claim. Audible wants them. Nothing's going to come of this. They're hoping to get the same money they got from Spotify. If these people have half a brain, if Kindle has half a brain, they'll run. Okay, next up, I have to touch on this from Harry's gray suit on Twitter, because basically you can't mock a physically disabled teacher at your boarding school and then talk about it in the spare and not even apologize, and then somehow you expect reputable mental health agencies to let you talk. So Harry and Meghan are returning to New York, and they're putting out articles trying to still push the narrative that they were in serious danger the last time they came into town. And that's why they had 7 SUVs in a fleet to escort them, because they're in so much danger. By the way, these were not police vehicles. There was no flashing lights. This is not the way it's done. This is private security, okay? So what did they do before they went to the summit? Instead of, remember they said they were going to make unscheduled stops? Well, here was one of their unscheduled stops. Harry and Meghan stopped at a school called the Marcy Lab School, which is an alternative to college in the borough. It was founded in 2019. It's a 1-year tuition-free program for young adults from, some underestimated backgrounds for financially rewarding careers in the tech field. The school was founded by 2 teachers. So remember, this was not set up, supposedly. It was an unannounced stop-in. Okay, so these 2 show up. They were given a tour of the facility. They took place in a round table with alumni. They spoke to students. Harry talked about the importance of relying on one another. Oh, everybody's got their story, a reason for being here. And then Meghan goes, I think my husband was asking about online spaces, because if there's a place where so much community can be built, then there's almost so much vulnerability. She used her buzzwords: community, vulnerability, saturation, parents. It takes a village. It's the same buzzwords that she's always used. This is nothing more than them exploiting poor students, ethnic minority students at school. Now, of course, Omid Scobie had to put up a tweet that the Letterman jacket that Meghan was wearing was given to her in the UK. Remember, we have to keep that connection to the UK. Because remember, if you lose that connection, that's the end right there. So they have to keep the connection. Of course, Diana had one of those too. Wow. All right. This is supposed to be another royal thing. And I have to agree again. If you hate royalty, why are you still trying to be royalty? And you don't do charity unless you can monetize it in some way. That's absolutely correct. So after this, they changed, and they showed up at this mental health summit, which, by the way, was not an Archewell summit. There was a mental health summit going on. There was a 2-hour gap, and WME got them in there. So they show up, and what do you think happened? First of all, Harry looks miserable the whole time. I'm sorry, he just does. Then, of course, they start with the word salad. As parents, social media, community, family, digital age. It's the same word salad crap we've heard from them a gazillion times. We've heard this: uplifting communities, building a better online world, restoring trust and information, they said, are the key pillars of the Archewell Foundation. I just find that so hypocritical, considering that half of the misinformation on the internet is put out by them. It's been proven. They've lied. So I think what she's concerned about is that when the kids get older, they may realize what a liar their mother is. And I'm sorry, you guys, what is with this off-the-shoulder outfit? This is supposed to be a mental health summit, not a night out at a disco, okay? I don't know what made her choose this outfit, but are you guys ready for this? Okay, the pants were over $1,000. The shirt was $2,200. The necklace was like $700. The shoes were like $500. I mean, she's wearing almost $5,000 in clothing again for a mental health summit. I mean, really? It's just, yeah. And I want you to look at the difference between the way William is sitting and the way Harry is sitting. Harry looks like a chastised, depressed child. Now with that, here we go. Neil Sean put out more information. He says that Harry recorded a message between him and Archie having a father and son chat about the perils of social media. So my first thought process is, who discusses social media with a 4-year-old? My second thought is, how do we know that's actually Archie he's talking to? Nobody's ever seen the kid or heard the kid. We don't know who that is. Now, Neil says they may not show this at this particular summit. They may show it later. This is all a WME thing. All of it. Because how many times have I told you guys they're going to whip out the kids when it helps them financially or it helps them with other things? They're a commodity. And they're bringing out the kids because they don't want you talking about the car chase anymore with New York. They're trying to distract you. And I couldn't help but think like this Twitter user. Were they sitting on the bench when they had this talk? Maybe under the mama and papa trees? Maybe they were holding salt and pepper shakers. Like, seriously, you guys. You know, guys, there is a difference between being royal and trying to slide up the greasy pole of Hollywood. And quite frankly, that's where Harry and Meghan are. Everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. I think Harry even realizes it at this point. I do. Okay, we're going to end with just a few more items. This came out saying that apparently a book is coming out that's going to be talking all about the pregnancies, the baby scam, the whole thing. I would totally buy that if that book actually comes out. All right, you guys, you know what I want. Put those comments down, make them good. And if you've donated to my coffee funder through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.